Lada 1-2, 3 Citroens to go now. The championship battle after Q1 and Q2 saw Ivan Muller just ahead of Jose Maria Lopez. Sebastian Loeb third in the championship standings. And if he has any aspirations, and certainly he must do, of trying to win this championship title, then he has got to finish in front of Lopez and Muller. So this is super special, but without Daniel Elena on the nose. This is all down to Seb and what he can produce here.
This is battle of the egos now with the Loeb is fed up of finishing third best in the Citroen team. Muller needs another pole ahead of Lopez. And Lopez wants to keep the momentum of his championship going, so it's going to be interesting to see the way this pans out.
First sector, 38.33, and that is slower than both Ladas.
Technical sector 2 should be where the Citroens are strong.
But it's where their tight and twisty stuff comes, so they've got great turn in, but are they nimble enough to make the best out of it?
Well, you don't know the condition of the track now, Martin, as well. You know,
Is it getting hotter than it was early on, and will that have an effect? 60.89 for Katzberg, 60.64 in the second sector for Rob Huff.
Loeb's been clean.
Yeah.
Hasn't he given it enough so far? Just coming up to the end of sector 2.
Look at the white line, across the line he comes, 60.349, so that is quicker than either of the Ladas.
But Huff was very strong through this final sector 3, so
he's got to carry the speed well through this final corner. 1200s up on Rob Huff. Will the Lada be on row 2, in front of a Citroen or behind one? Huff will start 4th or 3rd, but it is Loeb fastest at the moment by 15 thousandths of a second. .25.896 final sector, not as quick as Huff, but just quick enough to stay in front. Sebastian Loeb fastest at the moment. 2 cars left to come. And Loeb going to work very hard at the end.
Very quickly, Q3, second time you've been here, but you are a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it should have been better. I made a little mistake on my Q3 lap, so yeah, I'm guessing Rob's time should have been possible. He's obviously very fast, so probably he would have been faster, but in the end, I think we can be happy with Q3, and that's P5 twice, so not so bad.
And that's a great indicator of how competitive Nicky Katzberg is internally and how competitive he wants to be, because top 5 is not enough unless you're the fastest of all the cars in your garage, and even then it's not enough because there are some others you've got to go out and beat as well. Now, Sebastian Loeb saying on the radio on the cool-down lap, maybe not my best lap, but let's see what Ivan and Pechito have got. Well, first we get to see what Pechito has got. Jose Maria Lopez. There you can see the Lada drivers, big smiles from Rob Huff closest to us, and Nicky Katzberg.
Yeah, Lopez keeping the car very, very tight.
Well, for Lada, they're looking very happy because their performance is coming on in leaps and bounds as the season progresses. Citroën, it's pretty much what they've got is what they're showing at the moment. How much more might come later in the season remains to be seen.
The attitude of the Lopez manages to keep his car in. He's on the edge of letting it go and scrub speed. He's got that feeling with it where he just seems to be able to get it to the absolute limit, and then it just hangs on there and doesn't push over the limit. Down into turn 10 now, coming up to the end of sector 2, so we'll get a great indicator. But this is where Lopez was very strong.
Yeah, first sector he was slower than Loeb.
No, yes, correct.
A tenth away.
Time.
No, it's a tenth away from Sebastian Loeb. Now he goes half a second quicker. Blimey, he was stronger, wasn't he? Dear Lord. 59.77. That is the fastest second sector that we have seen from anyone ever. And as we come to the line at the end of the final sector, which is just 25 seconds of the minute and 20, the 2 minute and 3 second lap rather, 6 tenths clear.
Wow, 3.9.
Yeah. But 25.74, Rob's final sector, 25.78. So that shows how close it's going to be in not just in qualifying, but actually in the race itself. Citroën will need to start in front because they've got almost nothing in terms of race pace in any sector ahead of the Ladas.
Come on now, Ivan, you need to pull something special out the bag here.
Yeah. Listen, it's only 1 point more than Sebastian Loeb scores, but 1 point less is worse.
Pachito did leave some on the table there. I don't think he did in sector 2. He's absolutely had that nailed, but in sector 1 and sector 3, he could be vulnerable. So if Muller can string 3 strong ones together, Lopez is beatable.
Yes, he is. Muller knows he is. He's proved he is. It's being able to do it consistently and persistently that makes the big difference. Servan coming towards the end of his warm-up lap. Here we come. Maximum velocity across the line. Absolutely nothing left to chance in the final sector of the flying start into the time lap. Well, this really is very, very important times for Van Muller, because if he starts to let that competitive edge slip now, Matt, it just makes the season longer and the points gap continues to grow.
It looks well nailed through turn 2. He's not having to fight with the car much. Over the crest, down into the heaviest braking area. 3, can he get the front end? This is where Pachito's exceptionally strong. Front end looks good on Muller's car. Go through the left and then a very fast right 5 here. Before the circuit tightens up into 6. So they're fighting with the rear end here. Get the front end without the rear stepping out too much. That's working well. That looks strong. He's 3 tenths up.
Yeah, that's an epic first sector. Lopez wasn't as quick as Loeb. He wasn't as quick as Huff. He wasn't as quick as Katzberg. In fact, the fastest 3 cars in Sector 1 are Muller, Huff and Katzberg in that order. Fastest car in Sector 2, Lopez, 59.775. And Muller, how hard is he pushing, and is that going to cost him pole? Car bouncing all over the place.
Oh, he's hung on to it. He's hung on to it. We'll soon find out. Coming up to the end of Sector 2 now.
Still holds his advantage, 59.795. He lost only 0.02 of a second in that sector to Jose Maria Lopez.
Come on, Ivan, hold it together.
Huff, third fastest in that sector as well, has got to fancy his chances. Don't forget, at the moment, Rob will start 4th, Nicky Katzberg 5th. Unless Muller has a major issue here, and he's not going to. Is he across the line in pole? Yes, he is, by nearly 1/4 of a second. That was a great final sector as well.
That is a spectacular lap. Spectacular. And that's exactly what we want.
2 minutes, 3.736. That is a new qualifying record for Ivan Muller. Citroen 1-2-3, Lada 4-5. You would have to expect that, but that was a ballsy effort from Ivan Muller. And Matt, that downhill approach into turn 10, that's the shot that tells you everything you need to know about how hard he was pushing. At the end of tomorrow, we'll be at the midway point in the season. Ivan has now closed the gap from 35 to 34 points behind Lopez. He's got to take at least 15 out of him in the 2 races to really give himself a great shot at a 5th World Touring Car title.
Barrier.
It's a busy World Championship circuit, the Slovakia ring, as Jose Mira Lopez sits on the outside of the front row of the grid, but it is the cleaner side of the track because that's where the racing line runs. Well, let's catch up with Jose Mira Lopez. He spoke to Ben Constanduras just before heading to the grid.
Pachito is just getting ready into the car. Pachito, starting on the front row of the grid, you're on the inside for the first corner. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
I don't know. I don't know really. Last year we did start with the wet, so we'll see. You know, if it's advantage, disadvantage is the same role. I need to try to do a good start and try to see if we, with the team, the main thing is try to win the first race for the team, no matter who. Still a long way to go for the championship, so try to do my best, and I think it was a good qualifying, yes, a good battle with Ivan, and I'm very happy to be sharing with him the first row.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Matt, one of the features of the second race in Moscow was some severe wheel banging between Jose Maria Lopez and Ivan Muller. You've got to wonder, from what he's saying there, whether the riot act has been read by Citroen racing boss Yves Maton, saying, Citroen will win this race. I don't want any argy-bargy. Whoever's first in the first corner gets to win it. I wonder whether they're already starting to read the riot act before mid-season.
Well, what's great for us to see is Lopez is normally very calm, very collective, you know, just in his zone, and he just looks out of his comfort zone at the moment. He looks a wee bit agitated, a wee bit nervous, and Muller's setting an absolute blinding qualifying time, and Lopez won't like that. He doesn't like that, but, you know, Muller needs to win. He needs to start catching up the points. And, you know, we were just going on with Ben about the way the grid's laid out and the dirty side of the grid. And, you know, the pole side of the grid, which the old Senna-esque thing, which Muller's sat on, is the racing line into the first corner, but it is the dirty side of the grid. So Lopez could undermine him, could jump him into the first corner.
Alex Agui is down at 17th place on the grid with Thiago Monteiro, who's 4th in the championship but had a wretched qualifying.
Thiago, you had a shocking day yesterday. When I spoke with you last night, you didn't know why. Have you had any more answers now?
Yeah, we had a few answers, to be honest. We discovered a few issues that we had electronic-wise, especially, and not only, but I'm not going to go into details. But yeah, there were some issues. I mean, overall, we are not very fast here with the 60 kilos, obviously. None of the Hondas are amazingly strong, but it was a disaster for me, for sure. So I'm a bit relieved that there are some some explanations, but we're not sure if we can find a solution for that. So we will see now in this first race, and we will try in the second race something else. So I gotta, you know, just gotta do a good start, a good first few laps. I'm gonna push hard. I want to try to come back to the points. I have 7-8 cars to overtake. It's not gonna be easy, but nothing is impossible.
One thing you learn in motor racing, Matt, and you've learned this many, many times, is never give up. The weirdest things can happen. You know, this track is very hard work on tyres. If Thiago can keep his alive, he's got a very good opportunity of getting through some of the guys at the tail of the field. Alongside, just in front of him, will be Jean-Philippe Tom Coronel and Stefano D'Aste in their Chevrolets, and those cars are going to be tough to get by, but you have to push until you get to the checkered flag, because there's no guarantees everybody in front of you is going to make it.
Yokohama, your tire.
There's a quantum leap forward in hot hatches.
Tom Chilton, the second best of the Chevrolets, lining up in 8th. Quing Hua Ma, the 4th of our Citroën CLEZs in the Total Citroën Sport team, and he is lining up in 7th place. Not the most convincing qualifying, but you've got to remember that although Ma was in a number of races last year, he did not do the full season. So he's a full season driver this year for the factory Citroën racing team, but he has not been to Slovakia before. Hugo Ballont, habitually the fastest of the Chevy drivers, again was, but for the first time in a while, didn't make it into the top 5. There were no Chevys in the top 5, but there were 2 Ladas. Now, we went out for dinner with the Lada boys last night. They were very relaxed, very good company. And Nicky Katzberg came in kind of just from a minimal contact with World Touring cars. He's never raced a front-wheel drive car, anything approaching this before, and suddenly he's turned into one of the real stars of the championship this year.
Yeah, I mean, the whole touring car paddock here are missing James Thompson, and obviously Mikhail Kozlowski has been replaced, but you couldn't have replaced them with 2 great guys, better guys than Katzberg and Van Lagen. You know, great off the track, hard chargers on the track, and they're doing a stellar job, considering, you know, they've come in halfway through the season into what's a very competitive field.
Yeah, and both come in from powerful rear-wheel drive cars, GT3, Super Cup, that kind of thing, into a very different beast, and still trying to get their heads around it. So Rob Huff, the lead Lada driver, is still definitely leading their development. Well, the top 3 cars on the grid, and perhaps not surprisingly, given the speed of the 2 long straights here, Jose Maria Lopez in 2nd, Sebastian Loeb in 3rd, and the man on pole is Ivan Muller. We heard from Pachito a few minutes ago, and he was not his normal bright and bubbly self. I have to agree with Ben Constantinos, who we talked to afterwards, and he was saying he really didn't seem himself. Ivan Muller, 28th career pole in World Touring Car Championship, which lines him up for potentially his 45th win. Think about that. And this championship's only been going since 2005. He didn't win in 2005. He first won in 2006. So this is his 10th season. He's got 45 race.
Yeah, that either means he's very good, or he's been very calculated on the cars he gets into. He's always been with one of the best teams.
Well, one of the great things, I always say, one of the things about Ivan was that you look along his list of results, and the number of zeros was the lowest just about of anybody. Andy Priaulx was often as low, or if not lower, in his championship winning years. But when Ivan was running for the title, the zeros are what kill you. And Ivan is very good at not getting zeros. His most successful years, 2011, 8 wins, 2012, 9 wins, 2013, 7 wins. He could be on for his 4th here.
The FIA WTCC is delivered by DHL.
With Jose Maria Lopez slow away off the grid, the championship leader, who starts 2nd here to his closest rival, Ivan Muller. As they go around on their formation lap, their warming up lap. We'll catch up in a moment with Lada's Rob Huff and get some thoughts from him about this first of 2 races at the Slovakia ring today, round 11 and 12. 2015 FIA World Touring Car Championship. Everybody looking fairly tense at Citroën. I wonder how Rob Huff is feeling. Looking forward perhaps to getting in amongst the Citroëns here.
On the warm-up lap here in Slovakia, Ivan on pole position seems to be doing more of a parade lap than a warm-up lap as such. One of his new tactics to try and overcome Lopez off the start, but We've changed the car quite a lot from yesterday. We had quite a lot of understeer in the car. Yesterday morning started quite cold and the temperature came up a lot. And throughout the day we went from having quite an oversteery car to quite an understeery car. So we've changed the springs and the damper settings a little bit, so a little bit unknown. What we do know though here is the tyre wear is hugely high, and certainly by the second lap in the qualifying and the testing, the tyres are about 1.5 seconds a lap down on what they were on the first lap. So another interesting thing today we've noticed is the wind has changed direction. A strong wind across the track here. It's been blowing in the same direction for the last 2 days, and then wake up today and that's changed direction. So that's going to play things up a little bit, but settings all in the right place for the start. See what we can make of 4th place here this weekend.
Grégoire de Moustier ready to take the start from the pit lane. In the centre of your shot, Yves Matton. On the left is Xavier, the engineering director at Citroën Total Sport. Very grim-faced, aren't they? Come on, guys, this is fun. This is motor racing. This is the World Championship. It's not to be po-faced about. Norbert Michelis leads our Yokohama Trophy from Tom Chilton and Mehdi Benani. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out, because who is the highest placed on the grid? Hugo Vallant ahead of Tom Chilton, and Norby is quite a long way down in 13th place. Well, 3 Citroëns, 2 yellow Ladas, then the lurid yellow and white Chevy of Hugo Vallant. That is your top half dozen. Gabriele Tarquini on newer tyres, but on the dirty side of the grid. The drivers left the pole sitting side. And maybe Ivar Muller on scrubbed tyres that he used right at the very end of Q2 yesterday before going through into Q3. The battle to lead the championship to the midway start begins here in Slovakia. Thiago Monteiro down towards the end, 17th position on the grid behind Tom Coronel. Some of our established front runners had shocking qualifyings, but the Citroëns 1, 2, 3, Muller, Lopez and Loeb ahead of Rob Huff and Nicky Katzberg. Flag waves at the back of the grid. The grid is complete. Grégoire de Moustier will join in from the pit road. 5 red lights are on and away they go. The long shot shows us Tarquini immediately braking. So too does Nestor Girolami. One Citroën doesn't get away, and that is Qinghua Ma. And it's Lopez who leads for, no, Lopez on the inside. Muller leads, and Loeb is trying to go around the outside. And Muller takes a very tight line into the first corner, and right behind them, one of the Ladas, one of the Hondas, which would be Tarquini, and the yellow car of Hugo Vallant battling for 4th place. And it's Huff with Vallant on the outside. Little smiles from Citroën as they all got through the first corner safely, Matt.
Yeah, very clever tactic off Muller there. He sort of hugged to the inside because last year Lopez hooked back and out-dragged him, did the switchback on him, but he held Lopez up. Oh, into turn 2 now, into turn 3.
Chilton gets very sideways on cold tyres, who is looking for 4th. Tarquini gets 4th, Vallant's, or 5th rather. Vallant's already in fact, Tarquini is 6th, Vallant is 5th, Huff is 4th. Nicky Katzberg being passed by Tom Chilton. Chilton's car looking very wayward. New rear suspension upgrade on 3 of the Chevy Cruises. His, Vallant and de Moustier's.
Katzberg's had a slow start there. He's just playing it safe at the moment, but he's got his 60-kilo advantage over the Hondas and 50 kilos over the Chevys, so he needs to sort of get his head down and sort of make the most of that weight now.
Norbert Michelis, Mehdi Benani and Thiago Monteiro right behind him. Fast start for Monteiro, and that has put him in 14th place already.
Good start from Tarquini. Good opening lap from Tarquini as well.
Yeah, blue car there is Nestor Girolami. He is the reigning Argentine TC2000 champion. That, of course, is the championship that Jose Maria Lopez came from, a 3-time champion in that series. And Mehdi Benani, the red, white and green car, looking down the inside of the black and red Honda of Norbert Michelis. Norby sees the danger into turn 13, tucks to the inside. Did that against Ivar Muller 2 or 3 years ago. Our first races here, Muller tagged him from behind, spun him out. Got a drive-through penalty as a result.
It'd be interesting to see the speed of that Bernani's Citroen against the Honda now. Now he's tucked up, see how much he can attack down the start-finish straight, and he is definitely on the attack.
Yeah, you saw Norby having to defend hard down the straight. The Honda does not have the straight line speed of the Citroen. And around the outside goes Bernani, he's still there. Girolami with Ma, and that'll be Van Lagen, the third car there in that group, the yellow Honda, yellow Lada rather. And Bernani drove all the way around the outside of Mikulits, and right behind Norby is Thiago now. So Norby seeming to struggle. Tom Coronel, Stefano D'Aste next up, and Ma barely ahead of the Honda of new boy Girolami.
Brave move from Bernani around the outside, and Tarquini now really wants to get on with it. He wants Michelitz out the way, but Michelitz has got his own race to run.
Listen, if you're going to go around the outside of somebody, you know that Norby is not going to deliberately have you off.
Coronel's come very nicely into the mix now as well, hasn't he? He's made a good few opening laps.
Looking at the battle for... Well, now you were looking at the battle for 10th, now you're looking at the battle for 4th. Rob Huff in 4th. The first of the yellow cars, then the yellow and white Chevy, that's Hugo Vallant, then Tarquini, Chilton and Katzberg. Katzberg in 8th place ahead of Bernani and Mikulits.
Yeah, Huff's flying the Huff is flying the Lada flag at the moment, but unfortunately Katzberg and Van Lagen have seemed to have selected.
Oh, Thiago got in very deep there, didn't he? And just had to wash out wide to avoid his sister Honda driver.
Coming through turn 12, very critical exit. Important there, long run down to the last corner, 13.
Never seen anybody wear their sunglasses like that below their nose and across their mouth. Zoltan Zengo is quite a legend. So first race of 2 at the Slovakia ring, round 11 of the World Touring Car Championship. Ivan Muller leading from Jose Maria Lopez. Sebastian Loeb in 3rd. Fastest lap goes to Muller, but the other two are right with him in terms of pace, though Muller has opened up a 2.5 seconds over Lopez.
And Muller's 0.6 up the road on that lap, so this is obviously his tyre combination is running, and with a slightly scrubbed, slightly cured tyre, his tyres should, for Ivan, hold on better as the race goes on. But with Huff, with his Lada, with his weight advantage, as the race goes on, the heavier cars of the Citroens and the Honda should start to struggle a wee bit more, so it should bring, hopefully for us, Huff into the fight a bit more.
Ma finally gets by Stefano D'Aste. He moves up to 13th place over D'Aste's non-kitted, non-upgraded engine car. It's taken Ma a long time to make some ground. I wonder whether his clutch struggled at the start and whether it's still struggling. Ma's pace is nowhere near what his teammates is. He's lapping in 2:08s and they're lapping in 2:05, 2:06s. Muller out front. Lopez, it seems, holding off Loeb at the moment. Ivan Muller, fastest man on track last time round, 2:05.74. We've had one race here last year. We didn't have 2 races because they get away. Qinghua Ma, well, that's not wheel spin. The clutch just doesn't work. There's no drive at all there. In fact, right behind him, Mato Hommler got really badly held up. That's why Homler's right back at the tail of the field. And into turn 1.
This is interesting. You watch Muller sort of backs Lopez up, allows Loeb to have a go on the outside. Thought he'd managed to let Loeb jump Lopez, but Lopez just had the inside for turn 2 and he was away again.
And they get 3 wide behind as Vallant tries to go around Huff, and Tarquini looks at the other side. Well, as it turned out, Muller, Lopez, Loeb is your top 3. Huff, Vallant, Tarquini, 4, 5 and 6. And Huff is pulling away from the Chevy of Vallant at the moment. The Chevy with 50 kilos of success ballast, the Honda and the Citroen with 60 each, and the Lada with 0. Sebastian Loeb again, fastest first sector on this lap. So Loeb lacking nothing in bravery in turn 1 and especially in turn 2. Ma lines up the run down the inside of Coronel. He's got the grip to turn in tighter and get on the power earlier. And through he goes, deprives Coronel of 12th spot. Well, Thiago Montero told us before the race he wanted to get into the points. He's got to get in front of Norbert Mikulits to do so. And he's got Nestor Girolami coming up behind him. There is Mikulits in the black and red car, Thiago Montero, then Qinghua Ma, Tom Coronel, and Stefano D'Aste Girolami. Now, what's happened to Mato Homola? That's a very disappointing run for him. De Moustier parked after leaving the grid. He just drove straight back into the pits at the end of the first lap. Mato Homola, I'm afraid, only lasted 3 laps out on track. Not sure what's up with his Chevrolet.
It looks like the Hondas have definitely found something overnight for moving into race trim, because all 3 of the 2 Castrol cars and Michelin's car have all moved forward from, you know, they've been the big winners in these opening couple of laps.
Well, without the weight, or with the weight, it's often been the case that Honda's qualifying pace is not much different from their race pace, whereas Citroën seem to be able to find a big chunk more when they put a qualifying setup, low fuel and fresh tyres on the car. So it's not quite what you see is what you get. Now, there's that bumpy braking area at turn 10 where the Honda's back end is just bouncing up and down like it's a pogo stick.
Yeah, they have looked a wee bit of a handful this weekend. Mars going to be...
Oh, and Tarquin Montero runs very wide indeed, and suddenly Mar is in the equation.
Yeah, Mars definitely going to be giving these guys some hassle in just a couple of corners' time, never mind a couple of laps.
Now, Thiago on the dirt there out of turn 12 onto the back straight, and spinning up the wheel on that dirt meant there was no traction. Citroën now equidistant out front, Muller, Lopez and Loeb. And if team orders were in place, we've got nothing to prove that they were. However, we've got a couple of outside indicators to suggest that they might have been. Are we going to see Citroën just decide who wins what races? Well, that is not driver error there by Qinghua Ma. I'm suggesting, Matt, that whatever ailed him on the grid is still not right with that Citroën.
That's a good question, Martin. I would have imagined it would be a clutch issue or something like that on the...
Oh, and Katzberg. Come on, Nicky, brake.
That is a quick corner on the exit of turn 2 there.
Yep. So now he's got Mehdi Benani behind him. This is the battle for 8th place. Katzberg starting in 5th will have really wanted to be up at the sharp end here. The start just didn't work for him. Qinghua Ma's start will be investigated after the race. Oh. What, because it's now illegal to get away slowly from the grid? What? Honest to goodness, there have been a couple of very bizarre decisions this weekend. How can you possibly investigate somebody who doesn't make a good start from the grid, unless he was rolling beforehand because he knew he had a clutch issue?
He might have rolled and then stopped.
Yeah, possibly. And again, I mean, the way he got off the grid certainly looks like he's got a clutch issue. We were talking earlier about the finesse you need to get. It's not like a road car where you just let the clutch up and off you go. Matt, these things are very sophisticated clutch systems to handle all the power, and you've got to, like tyres, warm them in the right way and get the clutch at exactly the right temperature. Like the porridge, not too hot, not too cold.
That's right, Martin. And, you know, it's people have asked me what's the hardest thing about driving one of these cars, and I always say it's getting it off the line well. You know, first gear in them, you'll be doing 60, 70 mile an hour. So yeah.
Mar rolled, and the way he didn't move afterwards, I think he rolled because his clutch was already starting to
Could
foul.
be, but as the rules are written, he will get a penalty for that. Even though he lost 10 places, he will still get a penalty.
Yep. Fairly dues.
3 Citroens still a second a lap up the road from everywhere else. They must have some sort of seaside donkey gas running those things.
Well, you know, I'm not entirely sure what they're feeding them, but it's certainly working well. Powering away on board with Thiago Montero. All Honda battle for 10th place for the final point and into the pits. Jaap van Lagen. That's not good news, I'm afraid.
Jaap dropped down to 17th place before that, so he's obviously got some wee bit of an issue. And with the front row start, pole position for race 2, he wants that car to be in perfect fettle for the next one.
6,000 mile service and a full wash and shine. I think everything they can do for that car, because as you say, 10th place in qualifying, that's pole for race 2. Out goes Mato Homola. And he needs the miles in this car if he wants to do well in race 2. And again, he'll start 11th on the grid.
This is the only round he's going to do at the moment, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
It's a shame, but because he's shown real great form so far.
Sebastian Loeb running out very wide there and ignoring the white line.
Loeb's on a good form. He's keeping Lopez honest, isn't he? So just running this close to him, he will be using up that little bit of extra out of his front tyres. So he's either got to sort of get back in a bit of clear air, or Muller's just seems to have it nicely under control, about 1.5 second lead at the moment. And he does look like, of the 3 Citroens, like Muller is the loosest of the lot, which is what he does like. He likes a kind of loose car, so the circuit might be actually suiting his driving style this weekend.
I have to say, though, Lopez, normally the fastest man on track, is making no inroads into Muller. I'm saying that Citroen have squashed this. They'll never admit it, and we'll never be able to prove it, but there's no sense of any urgency in the top 3 cars. Racing going on everywhere else, fortunately, including this young man, Nestor Girolami's got a good run going in turn 13 on Stefano D'Aste, and the Honda's got a bit of traction. He's getting alongside the Italian. Just a little rub and a bobble between the two of them. Running in the Nika Honda that Ricard Rydell has been in a couple of times this season. It's the first that we believe a couple of outings for Girolami, the reigning Argentine champion. Nestor Girolami chasing Stefano D'Aste as Qinghua Ma chases Tom Coronel. Now, if they're going to investigate the start of Ma, all it needs is a little bit of data. Surely they're not going to apply a penalty after the race, are they?
I would be surprised if they didn't.
If it was a jump start, then it's easy to prove. We've already seen it, so we know it exists. Therefore, he should be handed a drive-through during the race, not change the result after the race.
Now, from this, it looks like Van Lagen's had a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact in the opening lap, so they'll just be trying to track everything, make sure, because that can increase tyre wear and obviously tyre degradation through the race.
It was on lap 1 in turn 6. Turn 6, a very tricky turn, Matt.
Well, yeah, it's got a big gravel trap on the outside, Martin.
Certainly has. Luckily, he didn't visit it.
But
they're very well rehearsed.
Some pretty prestigious names have been in there this weekend, like Lopez and Muller. And
exactly, on their first laps out. Both of them had huge broadside moments through there that were caught on our super slow-mo cameras.
Shame we didn't keep it there for the rest of the weekend, isn't it?
Well, you never know. Some other entertaining overtaking opportunities as well. Qinghua Ma, is he going to get by Tom Coronel? Coronel doesn't look particularly keen on giving nothing away, and that's not bad English. It's just that there is nothing to give away in 12th place. There's no points for it, but a race is a racer, Matt. You just want to go faster than the other guy wherever you are.
Now, I mean, it does look like D'Aste's Chevy has just got the legs up the straight on Girolami's Civic there.
Yeah. Well, listen, the Chevy hasn't got
Civic looks like it's working well, to be fair.
It is. I think Girolami's got this nicely set up. John Waterman is engineering the car this weekend. Of course, he was with Alamenu for so many years at RML. Nicky Katzberg back out on track. Well, still out on track, of course. It's yet Van Lagen in the pits. Van Lagen is still in the pits. Katzberg in 8th place. Mehdi Benani right behind him. So let's tell the story of there. Oh, as Norby goes off. Left front puncture. Well, that's turn 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the legendary turn 6 gravel trap. Another Honda finds it, I'm afraid. It didn't look like a puncture. There still looks like air in the tyre, but...
No, that's turn 1, Martin, I think.
Oh, it is turn 1?
Yeah, that's a puncture. It's obviously gone as... It's very similar to Chilton's when he went in free practice. Like, as soon as you hit the brakes, the tyre hits the maximum load and just explodes at that point.
Well, the gravel here, as we talked about yesterday, is not gravel. It's more like rocks. It's not pea-sized. It's more the size of a new potato. It's actually big stones. There's a lot of it. Unfortunately, some of those big stones have caused punctures. Benani slowing.
Could that be a puncture as well?
Well, I don't know. Looks level at the front, might not be level at the back, but bumping around. It's either that or transmission, because the car seems to be shunting a bit. But it won't be either of those, because I've suggested both. Tom Coronel dives inside Nicky Katzberg. So does Qinghua Ma. So if Katzberg and Benani come together. I was just about to tell the story of their races. Katzberg started 5th, Benani 12th. And they were running nose to tail.
Yeah, it smells like it, doesn't it? That's a shame, that is, because both those wanted a good, strong result there. And that was shaping up to be quite a nice scrap.
Well, Katzberg back up to speed, it seems, but Coronel has gone by. And so that will put Coronel in 8th place. Ma, where was he headed off to?
It'll also put Montero into 9th.
Mar going in the pits. Right, OK, now, so is there a penalty applied? We haven't been told. Mar has come into the pit lane. Yellow flags are out at the first turn. That's for Norby's car. And in comes Katzberg. What's going on? Hang on a minute. We've had more pit visitors here than in a 24-hour race.
Oh, Lopez running wide through turn 2.
Katzberg has got grass in the rad. I'm sensing there was a coming together with him and Bernani. And his car perhaps overheating. They want to protect it for race 2. What they really want is the cars to finish races, Matt, to do miles. That's what Lada need more than anything else, is time on track.
Girolami's finally done Daste.
Yeah.
Got through.
And well done as well.
Making a bit of space there now.
Never raced in Europe before. Jose Maria Lopez, when he came to the World Touring Car Championship, had. Nesta Girolami has never raced in Europe before.
Never raced a TC1 car before, never raced in World Touring cars, never raced at Slovakia before, so. But he is the reigning TC 2000 Argentinian champion, and which is...
Argentine politics.
Well, you never know. Maybe Girolami turning up.
Yeah, Girolami.
Oh, good pass.
Yeah,
good
great pass. Put his nose in there. And Stefano Daste, again, you know, like Norby, he's not the kind of guy who's just going to turn in and have an accident because you're there. He's not here to have a crash. He's here to finish the race and to race.
Yeah, the one who's had a fantastic race so far is Montero in the...
Bernani and Katzberg, well, he didn't go off there. He wasn't on the grass, so it must have been from somewhere else. Lap 10 of 11. Van Muller still leading comfortably.
Muller in his office.
Yeah, the
hard at work.
Body language is fairly relaxed there, isn't it? Like he was just dropping off under the car, probably a bit of rub. Well, Bernani's had contact from somewhere with somebody. I think it's squished his exhaust. That'll be the other side, but Bernani out of the car, and they're squaring up the Ladas. Muller's got this made in the shade at the moment. His two teammates quicker on the first sector of this lap, but they're going to take more than a lap to get to him. Not sure about this at all. Rob Huff in fourth place. No team orders at Lada. The only team orders are, boys, let's do as well as we can. Bernani is out and talking to his engineer, Sebastian Loeb Racing. There's his dad. Okay. He didn't know what was wrong with the car either. Not his dad. That was Mehdi. Rob Huff fourth. Hugo Vallant in fifth. Vallant started in sixth position, so he's benefited from the backwards progress of Nicky Katzberg. And behind him, Gabriele Tarquini, sixth position. Gabriele ninth on the grid. I think that's probably as much as they might have hoped for from the Honda. It's got close to the Chevrolet, but not close enough to do anything. Tom Chilton seventh. So Hugo Vallant, Tom Chilton and Tom Coronel, top three in the Yokohama Trophy. Coronel is in ninth, behind Thiago Montero. Montero, eighth place, Matt, from 17th on the grid. He was hoping to get into the points. He said it's going to be tough, but he's done a blinding job at that.
And at a circuit which is one of the hardest on the calendar to overtake at. So, you know, he's kept his nose clean while the others have fallen by the wayside around him. And, you know, he said he was going to have a go at getting into the points. I thought, well, it's a good effort. You've said that for the cameras, but you've got no chance, chap. But so to see him circulating in eighth place and still on the charge and still pushing on is fantastic.
Never give up.
Never give up.
He won the last race when we were in Moscow. And Rob Huff, of course, had a very strong weekend in Moscow as well for the Lada team. Fourth in race one, second in race two in the end. And more dust up there. Who's been out that dusty at the end of exit corner two? There's Viktor Shapovalov, the boss of the Lada Sport team. And here is your white arrows. What do they call I'm trying to remember what the French equivalent of the red arrows is called. I can't. The Espadrille Bleu or something. However, it is formation
Blue Angels,
flying.
was it?
That's the US Navy. It is formation flying, though, for Muller, Lopez and Loeb. That's where they qualified. That's where they started. That's where they finished. And no sign from the exit of turn one of an overtake happening, Matt.
Yeah, well, I don't think they've been flying in formation. I think they've been pressing on, because you look at the lap times compared to the guys around them and behind them, and these three are really pressing on and keeping each other under pressure and on their toes. And so, you know, none of the three of them have put a foot wrong the whole race. What? So the interesting thing is going to be in the next race, with these guys starting 8th, 9th and 10th, is how they deal with the traffic and how they try and work their way through, because they are going to come through with this sort of advantage on lap time.
Yeah, Ivan Muller, his fastest lap in the 2:05s. He's going to run away to victory here. It's win number 45 in his World Touring Car career. And behind him in second place is Jose Maria Lopez. In third place is Sebastian Loeb. It's a podium sweep for Citroën on a track that frankly doesn't really suit their cars as well, certainly as next week at Paul Ricard will. Rob Huff in fourth place. So Muller in the 2:05s, 2:05.7 his fastest lap, 2:06.2, 2:06.3 for Lopez and Loeb, 2:06.7 for Huff. So that car, the Lada's best lap, was a second slower than Ivan Muller's, but was less than half a second behind the fastest lap of Sebastian Loeb. And there's Nestor Girolami from 19th on the grid, 18th on the grid, in the points in his first ever World Touring Car race. 10th spot for Nika Racing. And that is mighty impressive. And if I could find the right bit of paper, I could confirm that that is Nika Racing's first point of the season, I think.
Both Montero and Girolami in those Hondas. I mean, very impressive.
Yep.
Race pace and racing. So,
yes, racing especially. To get through the traffic here, it's not the easiest track to overtake on. So Ivan Muller wins round 11 of the championship and closes the lead again. Favour. Ivan Muller, our race one winner here at the Slovakia ring. Out of his car, and the gap comes down now to, is that right? What did I say? 8 points? How's that happened?
No.
No, that's not 8 points.
28 points.
Our director, producer rather, Sebastian, is very good at producing, but he's as bad at mental arithmetic as me, and he's not even trying to talk at the same time.
But it's going in the right direction for Muller.
He's definitely, yes. This little swell of point outscoring of Lopez from Muller is definitely starting to have an effect. It's having an effect mentally on Muller. If it's having an effect mentally on Lopez, that's a different thing, but it is having an effect mentally on Muller. He doesn't feel like a beaten man all the time, does he?
Martin, you know what I've just noticed? Muller's got his old championship-winning helmet on.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's a bit of superstitious luck or whether it's paying off, or... I'm big into superstitions and driver edges.
I think he should go back to the gold one. I am the king of this castle. And because he's exuding that sort of confidence now, isn't he? He really is.
Maybe something's just clicked. He's found something with himself or with the car or the combination of the two. And
yeah. It's never one in isolation, is it? Because that self-confidence leads him to do things that might be a little bit, you know, left field with the car, and that's where you find the performance, isn't it? It's not when it's comfortable, it's not when it's neat, it's when the thing's ragged and hanging on.
Ah, look at that. Lopez not wanting to follow formation on the slowing down lap. That's the sign of an unhappy driver.
Yep. Well, we've had Muller being an unhappy camper for the first part of the season. Now it's Lopez's turn. Well, Alex is down there. Let's see if she can find out what made Muller go off like a seaside donkey.
Once again, you needed those points. That was a great race, but what happened at the start?
It was a good start, but all my two teammates did a good start as well, so I had to defend a little bit, but not too much, and then I pushed hard to make a gap because I knew my setup could do a gap immediately on the beginning of the race, and then I just saved my tire. Just is not the word, I saved my tire.
You looked very, very calm and composed. Did you know that it was going to go so well?
No, you can't know before that, you know. All the guys behind, they are world-class drivers, so you never know what's happened. But for sure, when when you pass the first corner and you are the lead, the pressure can go a bit down. But he's not finished because there is still 20 minutes of race after that.
Great result. Well done, Ivan.
La Patrouille de France. Thank you, Isadora. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. And for Fox Sports Latin America, a quick word with him as well. I wonder how his Spanish is. So La Patrouille de France is the French equivalent to the Red Arrows. It's the Armée de l'Air Defense display team. And that's exactly what we saw from Sitchin, a 1-2-3. And actually, worth pointing out, as Muller said, just preserve my tyres. No, not just preserved my tyres, because when you're pushing a racing car very hard, preserving your tyres is completely counterintuitive, Matt, but it's really important.
Yeah, Muller's one of the kings of the psychological warfare off the track as well as on it. Yes. And he knows Lopez it'll get back, or Lopez's engineer, if not Pachito, will be watching his post-race interview, and he just wants to add that little bit in that it was easy. And he cruised it, and Norby's car just coming back now, Michelitz's car, which we just had confirmed it was a puncher. Okay. In fact, so the reason he went off, and this tyre, this track we know is extremely hard on tyres.
I've got to say, I think it's the rocky stones out of the gravel trap as much as anything else, because the Yokohama, especially with the taller tyre that we're running, a bigger radius tyre, gives you a much stronger sidewall, and that really tends to help. Well, there is Ivan Muller, very relaxed.
In third position, Sebastian Loeb.
Ben, get out of shot. See, television's wonderful, isn't it? Well, Sebastian Loeb does look like he worked hard there, didn't he? Ivan Muller, when you win that, you never look like you worked hard for it, do you? Just gives you that little bit of a glow.
He must be getting as a 10-time world champion in rallying, but a 10-time world champion all the same. He must be getting pretty fed up of being third.
Only 9.
9, sorry.
Yeah, didn't get to double digits. Still, when he goes to World Rallycross, obviously that'll really probably catch among an entirely different set of pigeons. French anthem for our winning driver and the French anthem for our winning manufacturer. Very happy bunny, Ivan Muller. Always hard to read what Ivan's thinking. It's written in capital letters, 12 feet tall, all over his face. If he's happy, he's happy. If he's not, he's not. There's never any mistakes. Well, an almost entirely francophone podium, because, of course, Hugo Valente, our Yokohama Trophy winner, Corsican Frenchman. And, in fact, Josemaria Lopez, with his French girlfriend, his French fiancée, also a French speaker now. That's certainly coming on in leaps and bounds. His English has always been good. His French is getting very, very good as well. And this race for the championship title is definitely not over. So the chairman of the Slovak Parliament coming out to present the trophies. Make a note, British politicians. It is entirely acceptable to turn up at sporting events and support sport in your home country. So Citroën Racing, the winning manufacturer as well. President of the Slovak Motorsport Federation presenting the trophy.
And Mr. Mauro Zonta, the project manager of Motorsport Coordination.
And the Yokohama Trophy winner, Hugo Valente. Another sparkling performance from young Hugo. Didn't quite manage to make it into the top 5 in qualifying this time. But he is a very quick young driver. So chance for a quick photo op. Yeah, Hugo. Dear, oh dear. there is some form to be shown here. And then, of course, Matt, the teams will re-prepare the cars for race 2. And then we go and do it all again, but with our top 3 in reverse order. So Van will start 10th, Lopez 9th, Loeb in 8th position. And very hopefully, for him at least, Jaap van Laken will be on pole ahead of Gabriel in Tarquin. Pit lane about to get busy here at the Slovakia ring after the first of our 2 back-to-back races, rounds 11 and 12 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. Well, this time last year in Slovakia, we were in the process of suffering under a massive deluge. The race was, in fact, race 2 never got underway. It was cancelled because of the phenomenal amount of rain that fell. Well, there is the left front of Norbert Micheli's car, retrieved from the gravel trap, and the puncture there clear to see. I had lost its air, but the sidewalls are standing up very strongly now, and maybe that's why when you see them going off and then you see them in the gravel train, you think, well, hang on a minute, that tyre doesn't look flat. It's lost all its air, but it has kept all its shape, so that's a little bit misleading for a fool like me. They're working hard still on the front of Grégoire de Moustier's car that didn't do more than a lap in race 1 after damage in free practice ruled him out of qualifying.